that my name is Gal and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Gal Gadot has had enough. Hold on, everyone. That's Gal, indeed. Now, like a tidal wave, the backstage secrets of Disney's live-action Snow White are coming to light. But this isn't a fairy tale, I assure you. Despite the film's release, nobody is talking about its fantastical settings or Gal's incredible performance as the evil queen. Rather, there is so much drama in the headlines that it is almost impossible to cut through. And what caused all of this chaos? You won't believe it. There wasn't an explosive altercation or a controversy on set. One Instagram post was the beginning of it all. Rachel Zegler shared what seems to be a loving tribute honoring the premiere of Snow White on March 21st, 2025. It was all hugs, grins, and nostalgic flashbacks. She expressed thanks to her co-stars and crew, described the film as life-changing, and thought back on her own development throughout the 4 arduous years of production. One obvious absence, though, was Gal Gadot's whereabouts. Rachel didn't mention her, tag her, or even post a hazy old selfie. Not at all. This was Rachel's co-star, the second lead, the evil queen, not some little supporting player. What about the internet? Yes, they did notice. And they had no intention of overlooking it. A comprehensive digital probe ensued. Was Rachel being disrespectful under the cover of nostalgia, or was it an error or a forgotten tag? But wait, there's more to this rabbit hole. Because when fans dug further, they discovered a whole mess of personal conflicts, politics, and behind-the-scenes strife. As it happens, there was more to Rachel and Gal's conflict than just their respective Hollywood egos. Beyond the set, it directly addressed Israel and Palestine, one of the most contentious geopolitical crises. As many people are aware, Gal has openly expressed her love for her nation and is pleased to be Israeli. Rachel, however, has made no secret of her support for Palestine. Imagine that dynamic on set. 2 individuals who have essentially different worldviews, but are compelled to live together. Insider rumors indicate that the situation was not just uncomfortable, but also quite cold. This was survival mode, so forget about the idea that we are only here to work. However, there were other factors outside politics that distinguished these two. Disparities in lifestyle were particularly difficult to overlook. Gal, 39, a mother of 4 who has been married since 2008, is the epitome of queen energy, sophisticated, poised, and unapologetically royal. Young, frank, and still making her mark in Hollywood, Rachel, 23, is shamelessly sure of her beliefs. It's easy to imagine the forced small chat and courteous nods that characterized those trailer talks. The premiere then took place. The red carpet was unrolled in Los Angeles on March 15, 2025. Rachel and Gal both arrived. Fans weren't persuaded, even though they smiled and posed together. Those grins? Close. That look? Almost non-existent. The vitality? It was colder than an Arendelle winter night. Were they lying? Each picture turned into a clue. Did they hate each other in private? Rachel's next move was a calculated one, maybe a reaction to the mounting rumors. In interviews, she called for greater support among female celebrities and stressed that women in Hollywood shouldn't be compared to one another. Indeed, a strong emotion. Guess who, though, she never brought up? Gal. Not once. Not even a murmur. The media frenzy was irrepressible by now. Disney unexpectedly found itself in the midst of a terrible public relations situation. The studio faced a serious issue as a result of Rachel's nuanced remarks, Gal's silence, and fans analyzing every second. Not to mention the initial controversy that initially sparked interest in this movie. Rewind to June 2021, when Rachel Zegler was revealed by Disney as their next Snow White. She seemed like the perfect fit on paper, young, gifted, and with a beautiful voice. Mark Webb, the director, praised her and said her cheerfulness was contagious. However, the internet? It held different views. Her complexion, which is as white as snow, is literally referenced in the moniker Snow White. Since the first fairy tale, it has been a component of the character's identity. Therefore, there was immediate pushback when Rachel, who is of Colombian and Polish ancestry, was cast by Disney. Some praised it as a step forward, finally, a Latina Disney princess. However, other audiences were incensed, particularly conservative ones. The casting was criticized by prominent figures such as Ben Shapiro as a violation of the story's origins. However, Rachel refused to give up. She supported Disney's decision, highlighting representation and applauding the chance. She emphasized how significant it was for young girls to recognize themselves in a traditional fairy tale. Disney, however, went one step further. They completely changed Snow White's origin story, removing the connection between her name and skin tone. Rather, since she had survived a snowstorm as a newborn, she was given the moniker Snow White. Yes, they completely changed the backstory. Rachel supported this modification, claiming that the new version placed more emphasis on strength and resiliency than on outward beauty. However, not everyone agreed. Traditionalists said Disney was transforming a classic into yet another effort at imposed modernism by removing the story's central meaning. Gal was quiet until now, while Rachel was enmeshed in a flurry of arguments. When Gal finally spoke, her admirers went crazy. Gal acknowledged that Snow White had been difficult, particularly with all the commotion around it, without specifically mentioning Rachel. She underlined the value of respect for one another on set and the challenges that arise when outside drama enters a creative environment. Was she talking about the alleged friction behind the scenes, Rachel's political tweets, or the Instagram snub? We all knew, even if she didn't say anything. Gal's reaction? Poised, elegant, and sufficiently shadowy. A conflict between Team Rachel and Team Gal broke out among the fans. In the meantime, every previous interview, every premiere, and every fleeting glimpse were now being examined again. Disney, too? Completely quiet. Seeing their main live-action adaptation become a PR catastrophe has apparently infuriated executives. What about Rachel? To put it mildly, this was hardly her first scandal. There were rumors that she was tough, dismissive, and even conceited on set, according to staff sources. It wasn't helped by a leaked behind-the-scenes video, in which Rachel was heard criticizing the screenplay and calling it problematic and out of date. She maintained that love stories were overused and that Snow White didn't require a prince. The issue was not the message per se, but rather the manner in which she delivered it. Rather than elevating the film's heritage, some said she came across as patronizing. Gal, in the meantime, the meaning of poise. She talked about preserving traditional tales while empowering people, which is a sophisticated way of saying, don't change the past for the sake of being popular. Then there was a last blow. Rachel was asked if she had learned anything from Gal at a news conference. What did she say? "I learned how to stay quiet when it's good for you," she remarked, laughing. Oh no. That was interpreted by many as a clear jab at Gal's deliberate quiet. Gal, too? She didn't answer in public. However, according to sources, that was the last straw. Is there a possibility of future partnerships? Lost. Is there a chance they may present together at an awards ceremony? Never. According to reports, Disney is now reevaluating Rachel's future with the company since they like her skill but dislike the controversy around it. The topic of whether Rachel Zegler self-destructed is still very much alive. She had it all, a revolutionary role, singing talent, and star power. But did her outspokenness, dubious actions, and tension on the red carpet cost her everything? Gal, meantime, became the calm queen, garnering admiration and fan requests for more Disney parts. Since then, Rachel has stopped posting on social media. Control of damage? Exhaustion? Time will tell. However, aside from the plot itself, this Snow White saga will be remembered for everything else. And to be honest, that may be the worst tragedy of all.